Table of contents. Table of contents. 3. Introduction. 4. Images. 6. SEO for images. 7. Image file names. 7. Captions. 8. Alt text and title text. 9. Image file size. 9. Videos. 11. SEO for videos. 11. Producing versus embedding. 12. Downloads. 14. SEO for downloads. 14. Text. 16. SEO for text. 16. Length. 16. Updates. 17. Conclusion. 18. Resources. 19. Multimedia mastery. Introduction. Years ago, the average website was mostly text, generally having only a very few images that served specific purposes, such as the site's logo, advertising banners, and small decorative graphics to call attention to certain areas of the site. The main reason for this was to keep the site small and fast loading, since internet speeds were still quite slow. However, as high-speed internet has come to most of the world, websites are now full of images, videos, and other forms of media. In fact, many people prefer to view other types of media rather than spend a lot of time reading. Never in the history of the internet has it been so incredibly important to have various forms of content available on your site. No longer is it profitable to focus solely on the written word. Even if you're depending on SEO to bring a significant portion of your traffic, it's still vital to include a wide variety of media types on your site. While Google still loves written content, it also loves to see other forms of media such as images, videos, and downloads on your site, and your visitors will as well. Here are some of the benefits to including other forms of media on your website. Google will show you more love, your visitors will return more often. Multimedia mastery. Your visitors will be more engaged and spend more time on your site. You'll gain traffic from sources like Pinterest, which you can't get with only written content. If you're finding it difficult to rank well and to get traffic, it may be because your content strategy is outdated. It's no longer possible to rank well by writing hundreds, perhaps thousands, of simple articles and getting a lot of high-quality backlinks. To do so would probably take years of hard work, and who wants to wait that long for results? By then, things may have changed again, and you could be starting over at ground zero. These days, the two biggest factors in outranking your competition quickly is to use multiple types of media, such as images, videos, and downloads, instead of just text, and being sure you're using the latest SEO techniques on your content. In this guide, you're going to learn about some of the different types of media you should include on your website, and how to make sure you apply the latest SEO techniques to that content. So let's get started. Multimedia mastery. Images. Images are the most common form of media on the internet aside from text. They're relatively small in file size, at least when compared to videos, and they can make a very large impact in terms of both traffic and user interest and engagement. Images are useful in many ways. Not only do they make a website more engaging and aesthetically pleasing, but they can be useful for promotional purposes, such as pinning on Pinterest, and for drawing attention, demonstrating steps in a process, and showing people examples. Years ago, it was common to see images such as animated bullets, graphical divider bars, and wild background images. These days, such images are frowned on, as they make a web page look unprofessional and out of date. These days, it's more common to see photographs. Don't include photos just for the sake of including photos. I can't tell you how many times I've seen a blogger include a bunch of photographs that don't really pertain to the article they are writing just to beef it up with images, and it's frustrating. For example, let's say you've written an article about email marketing. Images you might want to include would be screenshots of the various services you're talking about, and images that show users how to perform some specific task that they might not otherwise understand without the picture. Multimedia mastery. Images you would not want to include would be generic pictures of mail or mailboxes, generic @symbol graphics, and random pictures of email messages. The only exception would be if you need a featured image for your blog and you don't have any specific images that would pertain to your blog post. You could use one generic image in that case, but it should fit as closely with your subject matter as possible. Whenever you include images on your website or blog, you'll want to be sure they're optimized for Pinterest, as this can be a major source of traffic. SEO for images. Many people don't realize SEO can be applied to images, but image can actually bring in a significant amount of traffic if they are used correctly. It's important to apply good SEO techniques to all of your images to get the most out of each one. There are several places you can include SEO information in images. The file name. Captions, alt text. Image file names. Multimedia mastery. Let's say you have an image of a dog groomer you'd like to add to your article about becoming a dog groomer. You'd want to name your image something like doggroomer.jpg. This helps search engine spiders see your image, and it can also help you show up in a Google Images search, which can potentially lead to more traffic. After all, that's one more spot you could take up in the Google search results. Captions. Captions are the small bits of text that appear under some images in books, magazines, and online. They're great when they serve an actual purpose, but because they are immediately visible to visitors, they should not be used solely for the sake of inserting keywords. Did you know that Kissmetrics concluded that captions under images are read 300% more than the body copy itself? It might be difficult to believe, but captions can have a huge impact. So not only can you use them for SEO purposes, you can also use them to make important points. Let's use the dog groomer image as an example. You could include a caption such as, "Dog groomers report 36% more job satisfaction than the average profession, and make 28% more than those employed in similar fields." Note, I made up those statistics. As you can see, it includes information someone reading the article might find important, and it includes the dog groomers keyword first. Multimedia mastery. Alt text and title text. Alt text is a piece of code that tells the browser what text to display if an image cannot be loaded. This can happen if the image URL is broken, or on some devices that don't display images. It is also used by people who are visually impaired so the screen reader can tell them what the image is. You'll want to keep both purposes in mind when you add alt text, both SEO and display for those who cannot see the image. Don't just stuff in a bunch of keywords. That won't help users, and it could get you penalized by Google. Instead, the title text is displayed in Chrome when you hover over an image, but it's not taken into account with regards to SEO purposes, thus it's not really necessary to put the title attribute into your images. Instead, just use your keywords in the alt text, and do so in a way that makes sense for people who can't see the image. Be sure to use your most important keyword early in your alt text, because it will be given the most weight if it appears first. For example, keyword in bold. Dog groomer clipping a dog's fur. Image file size. While the file size of an image doesn't have a direct effect on SEO the way something like adding the keyword to the file name or alt text does, it does have the indirect effect of increasing the load time of a web page. If the page loads slowly, it could receive a Google penalty of sorts and won't rank as well as it could. Multimedia mastery. For this reason, it's important to ensure you resize all of your images to a reasonable size in dimension and file size. Some people just use the full-size image they download from the stock photo site and use HTML to resize it on the screen, but the file size would be huge. Instead, resize the image to whatever dimensions you really need it to be. Also, you might want to try to reduce the file size if possible without sacrificing image quality. If you're using WordPress, you can use a plugin to reduce the file size. There are a lot of free plugins that do a good job of reducing images without losing image quality. Multimedia mastery. Videos. Video is quickly becoming the preferred format for online content, although a lot of people still prefer text. Thus, it's a very good idea to have both text and video on your site for those who prefer the content in text format. For a long time, many sites stubbornly clung to text because it was difficult to perform SEO on videos, but these days it's getting a lot easier. Google has made some changes to their algorithms that makes it a lot easier to use videos on your site and still attract search engine traffic. SEO for videos. If you're using WordPress, you may want to download the Yoast Video SEO plugin to make it easy to SEO your videos even if you're embedding YouTube videos on your own site. Typically, embedded videos don't have the same power for SEO purposes that. You can get the plugin here. There is also a free plugin here that works in a similar fashion, but some people say it is buggy and may have security vulnerabilities. Multimedia mastery. Because of the potential security vulnerabilities, use this plugin at your own risk, but it may be a good option if you don't want to pay the rather hefty price for the Yoast plugin. If you're uploading your own videos to YouTube and other video sites, be sure to include relevant keywords in the tags, video title, and description, and be sure to put your post important keyword first. Producing versus embedding. One of the primary reasons video content is so useful for SEO purposes is because it has the potential to go viral and attract a large number of links. Backlinks, especially organic links from authority sites, have tremendous power for boosting your search engine visibility. Of course, they can be tricky to get without paying for them, which Google can actually ban your site if they catch you doing it. Here is an excellent story on this subject here. In the article, you'll read about Dollar Shave Club, who managed to dramatically increase the backlinks by creating a viral video that got the internet buzzing. This is the kind of thing video can do for you, but only if you produce your own. Otherwise, the links are mostly going to go to the original producer of the video. Multimedia mastery. That's not to say it's impossible to gather a lot of backlinks by posting other people's videos. Some sites actually specialize in gathering interesting videos and posting them on their own site for the purpose of attracting viral traffic through Facebook and other sites. However, it will be much easier if you have your own content. Multimedia mastery. Downloads. Downloads are another form of media that can boost your search engine traffic, especially if you are offering content that is relevant to your site. For example, you could offer free downloadable PDF guides which should not be delivered by an autoresponder if you want to experience SEO benefit, or downloadable software that you create. Using the dog grooming example, you might provide a few PDFs that explain different aspects of the dog grooming business, as well as a simple scheduling program you have a developer create specifically for dog groomers. One thing to keep in mind is that you cannot just take items from other websites and use them as free downloads on your own site, even if those are free on someone else's site. Most people who create free items want them distributed only on their own site. SEO for downloads. If you're offering PDFs for download, as long as you're creating standard PDFs with regular text rather than images, they're inherently indexable. The text within them can be crawled, and the individual PDF can appear in the search engines. For this reason, you'll probably want to include some keywords inside your PDF, as well as in the file name and title of the file. Multimedia mastery. If you're offering software or other downloadable content such as zip files of various files, you'll need to create a download page for each item, which you can SEO just as you would any other page on your site. Be sure you include keywords that relate specifically to the download, as well as generic download text such as download and free. Multimedia mastery. Text. Even though this guide is meant to teach you how to expand beyond just text content, it's still important to understand that text will always be a big part of internet content. It's still going to be easier to rank well with written content than other types of content, generally speaking, and a lot of visitors still prefer to read rather than watching videos or downloading items. Even if you're using images, videos, and downloads, you'll want to use text as a good portion of your content, and you'll use text even on the pages that use other forms of media to bolster your SEO. SEO for text. There have been some changes recently to the way Google indexes and displays its results. You may already know that longer content is ranking better than shorter content, in general. But did you know that updating your old content is also now very important if you want to improve your rankings? It's important to keep these changes in mind as you create your content so you can be sure you're giving Google exactly what it wants. Let's take a look at some of these important new changes. Length. Multimedia mastery. As you probably already know, Google now greatly prefers longer content. A few years ago it was possible to rank well with 300-word articles, but these days it's much easier to rank with content that is a minimum of 1,000 words. In fact, it seems that the longer the content, the better. Although you should never add unnecessary words just to boost your word count, make sure you create content that is as long as possible without risking readability. Updates. A long time ago, if you had something new to say about a particular topic, you'd create a brand new article on your blog or website. You might link to it from the original article, but generally you'd use it as an opportunity to create a new piece of content that might rank in the search engines. This is no longer a good idea, because Google now seems to favor updated content more than new content, especially because updating old content adds even more length to the content. In fact, it's a very good idea to take a look at some of your most popular articles and see if anything has changed in recent times that you might add to the original in order to update it. This can give you a significant boost to your original content's rankings. Multimedia mastery. Conclusion. If you've found it difficult to get traffic to your website, it may be because your content strategy is outdated. If you're concentrating on mostly text and using older SEO methods, it's not surprising you're struggling to get traffic. Things are much different in SEO than they were just a year or two ago. It's no longer about including your keywords, generating as many pages of content as possible, and getting as many backlinks as possible. Google now looks at other factors, such as different types of media and how often older content is updated. If you include other types of media on your site, you'll not only attract more search engine traffic, but you'll attract more visitors from other sources, too. Photos and videos are much more shareable to the average user than text content, so you'll receive more viral traffic from sites like Pinterest, Twitter, and Facebook if you include media other than just text. While you should never include other forms of media simply for the sake of including them, judicious use of photos, videos, and downloads can help boost your traffic and increase user satisfaction and engagement on your website. Best of luck. Multimedia mastery. Resources. Greater than. Multimedia mastery.